Venom is now one of, if not the most powerful hero in Marvel Rivals. He's been fairly good for quite some time, but with his new big buffs, he goes way over the edge. So with the new emerging Venom meta, I wanted to give you the most comprehensive Venom guide that you'll find anywhere, and I sat down with rank 1 Venom Snakecase to give you some advanced tips and tricks you can utilize in your games so you can start your absolute dominance this season and quickly climb the ranked ladder. Now, Snakecase's Twitch and YouTube will be in the links down below, and I just launched my brand new podcast, Clear Comms, where we sit down with high-level players and streamers and talk everything Marvel Rivals, including the meta, balance, and the future for the game. Link will be in the description down below, but let's get into the video. Now, first, we're going to give you a complete overview of all of Venom's abilities in case you're new, and give you tips and tricks along the way about how to optimally play Venom. And then towards the end, we're going to give you some more advanced stuff with Snakecase that you can incorporate immediately in your gameplay. Now, Venom's primary is called Dark Predation. This is his normal fire, and it actually does headshots, so that's one of the first skill checks on this character. Higher crit rate means more damage consistently, but you're also going to want to be weaving melees in between your primary for the first two. So you shoot, and then you're going to melee, and then shoot and melee again. This weaves in extra bits of damage, but for the third melee, it's a little bit of a longer animation that is typically not worth it, and can mess up some combos as well, so that's something that you can cancel. So a default fight could be primary melee, primary melee, primary primary. This makes it so you skip over that third melee and it doesn't slow down your consistent damage. Now, you can also use your primary to set up some timing stuff with your ultimate, but we'll get to that in a little bit later in the combo section. Now, Venom's ultimate is called Cellular Corrosion, and this is a really important ability for Venom that creates more consistent damage and even one-shot combos. So basically, when you activate it within range of 8 meters from an enemy, it's going to do a tiny amount of damage at first, only 5, and it's going to slow enemies by 25%, making it harder for them to run away and easier for you to deal damage to them with your primary. And if you make sure to stay within 11 meters from them within 3 seconds, it will do another big burst of 80 damage. Now, that 3 seconds is important because it's something that you can combine with his ultimate that will do damage based on max HP, and if you time it correctly, right before the 3-second pop, you will be able to hit them with the ult and then hit them with the Cellular Corrosion burst damage, one-shotting them, and you can even use this to one-shot supports through their ultimate depending on damage boosts and things like that. We'll revisit it later, but basically, if you pop this right when you slam onto an enemy and then pop your ultimate immediately, you need to pop your ult right around the midway mark of holding it in order to get the timing right, or you can count 3 seconds in your head, or you can do double primary with no melee weave, pop your ultimate, and it's going to be perfectly timed. So you can slam on somebody, pop your corrosion, melee ult, and that's a perfect combo that you can kill a lot of characters with, and even without doing damage, it can kill 250 HP characters. But if you do damage with your primary and your slam, you can actually hit some 275, 300, depending on how much damage you do. Now, there's a lot of different ways to variate this. Like, you could technically do one primary and then wait till about 25% through the ultimate to get the combo instead of doing it immediately. It's just different depending on how you set it up. But 3 seconds, and the corrosion popping with that burst damage the millisecond after your ultimate pops is the way to execute the combo. But I'll explain this in more detail later on, so don't worry if you don't quite grasp it yet. Now, the first movement ability on Venom is his Venom Swing, and this allows him to zip across the map. It's on an 8-second cooldown, and it's the main way that you're going to be able to move around the map and get out of danger. And one of the things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up on a wall, a piece of cover, a high ground, something, and slam into the enemy, and then use your Venom Swing to get out. One of the things and one of the big mistakes a lot of Venom players make is that they are swinging into a fight. And while you could do this in certain situations, when you're in an isolated duel, when you're guaranteed to get kills, or when your team has a ton of picks and you have a lot of momentum, you can definitely swing in and slam in. But if you swing in, you got to understand that it's very easy for you to die. 8 seconds is a long time, and with focus fire and CC crowd control, you could still die. But if you slam in without using your swing, then you can always just swing out safely. And one of the things that you kind of originally had to decide was, should you do easy swing so you could just instantly get out, or should you have manual swing so you can look at the floor and certain objects and actually grip to it specifically? Now you get to do both. So what you want to do is bind both settings. So you can manual swing off of stuff and you can easy swing out. And that gives you a lot of options because sometimes you want to get out immediately and you don't have time to look. You don't have to because you can use easy swing. But in situations where you're trying to set up like a rollout or you're trying to grab the ground in a very specific way, you can do the manual swing. So you're gonna want to bind both of these. And this is really strong because easy swing can allow you to instantly swing and slam on somebody if you're trying to kill them right away, or it can allow you to like zip out of there the second you hear an Emma use her diamond form. It gives you a lot more flexibility and options in the mid fight, and it's really, really strong to do, something you're gonna have to do if you want to master Venom. Now, one thing that you could do with manual swing is if you swing around an object and then cancel it, you can build up momentum that if you spam jump as you hit the ground, you're gonna be able to carry that momentum into a bunny hop. Now, on mouse and keyboard, if you bind your jump to scroll wheel down, it's a lot easier to be consistent with bunny hopping, but you can do it on both controller and mouse and keyboard without doing that. It's just a bit harder to get the timing right. This could be super useful if you need a touch point last second or you really want to save your abilities and get all the way to point. You could chain like a bunny hop into a slam and then grapple out after you touched in overtime. Super powerful tech to master after you get more comfortable on the character. Now, the main way that Venom protects himself is with his ability Symbiotic Resilience. This is on a rather long cooldown at 15 seconds, and it's going to instantly grant him 100 bonus health and then convert 120% of lost health into bonus health as well. This means that the lower HP that Venom has, the more this is going to heal you. So if you squeeze this ability or make sure you're using it when you're relatively low, you're going to be able to be a lot more survivable or have more overall health over the entire engagement. That being said, you sometimes have to find that balance because while it's nice to like try to really wait till you're low, if you wait till you're like at 200 HP, then get frozen, you're not gonna have a chance to pop it before you die. So you gotta be a little bit careful about that. Now, it's also important to understand that this is not enough to protect you alone. I think it's most important that you're ready to dip out of a fight and you still have access to your grapple to get out. If you are being shot by a whole bunch of people, being stunned by Bucky, being frozen, it really doesn't matter how much HP you have. You need to be able to have tools that can get you out, and you can still get burned very quickly if you go in expecting this alone to save you. It's really easy to hit a big chunky Venom. You're a massive target. That HP doesn't go as far as you think it does. Still important to have a get out plan. Also, it's a super long cooldown, so you don't want to do any harder dives until you get it. Sometimes you can do a soft slam and get out just to bait cooldowns and build up ult charge, and then you'll have your next bigger engagement once you have it, still preserving that grapple to get out though. Now, a really important Venom ability is his Frenzied Arrival. This is his slam ability, and the weird thing about this is this can be triggered depending on Venom's distance from the ground, not necessarily the distance from the target he's going to slam onto. So as long as you can create a little bit higher than jump elevation, you can slam in most cases. And this means that you can use all kinds of strange techs and things in order to get that slam off. There's carts like the Symbiote cart that you can use the bulge of the cart, hop up and over it, and then slam down all around it, and you can slam pretty far as well. This also means that if you can jump off of a high ground, you can slam back on top of that high ground because Venom's body is technically really far from the ground that he's over, even though he's slamming directly under the ground that's right next to him. You can combine techs like that with primary cancel, so you can actually jump off of like a ledge, primary, hit the target, and then slam right on top of them, even though they're right next to him, and just do a crazy amount of burst damage out of nowhere. There are even some carts where you want to literally grapple onto them and then jump off them backwards so that you can slam. I know, it gets a little complicated, but you'll get used to this with time. Now, this slam is actually going to knock enemies upwards, and you can actually combine this slam with your easy swing to have some instant slam interactions that can mess up enemy ultimates. For instance, if you're close enough to a Strange and he starts an Eye of Agamotto, you can actually easy swing slam and you can make it so that he misses his ultimate. This is because you get anti-CC frames when you're slamming, so doing this out of nowhere means you won't get hit by random crowd control ults. Definitely really hard to do, but it is possible on this character. Now, I did want to mention his wall climb, alien biology, definitely a important ability because it's how you set up a lot. You're going to be crawling up walls, typically sitting on top of chokes or around chokes, setting up on some high ground with your wall climb, and then using that as a vantage point to slam into the enemy so that you can save your grapple to get out. This is really, really important. And one of the things that some players have problems with is they have a problem sticking to the wall. I would say just hold your space or your jump button, and once you make contact with the wall, it will just stick to it as long as you're holding the button. That's the easy way for me, but everyone's gonna get used to it in their own way. Now, last but certainly not least, we have his ultimate, Feast of the Abyss. That ult name definitely has the most aura, I think so. And this is a single cast ultimate where he goes underground. He has an 80% movement boost, and then he's going to jump up and do damage in a 7-meter spherical radius. It's gonna do 50% damage of target's health, followed by an additional 50 damage, and it's gonna convert 100% of the damage dealt into bonus health, and it's gonna prevent 30% of healing for 4 seconds with the new buff. Now, I know that this is a lot to take in, but basically it's an ultimate that does a giant chunk of damage based on HP, and then it has some follow-up damage plus an anti that is going to make him easier to focus fire. Now, I already did talk about some of the combos, but the simple ones are you latch onto enemies, you press Q, and at the 50-meter mark, you pop up, or 3 seconds, and your ultimate is gonna pop right before your tendril burst pops, and it's gonna do both amounts of damage at the same time and then insta-kill 250 HP heroes. And on a true 250 HP hero, this might actually be the play, where you're going to alternate fire and then pop your ult, wait 3 seconds, and go underground. And the reason that you would do that is because you can't get hit by CC, so it's not gonna mess up your ultimate combo. But oftentimes, if they have any amount of healing, that's gonna not work out because they're gonna be able to survive it. So sometimes you wanna do double primary before you pop your ult to do more damage, but it creates more opportunity for you to get crowd controlled. Or you could do 1 primary and then wait to the 25-second mark and pop your ultimate, which is what Snakecase recommends because it's less likely to get CC'd and you do add a little bit more damage, but it's gonna be situational, of course, depending on how much CC is there, if they even have CC available, and the general amount of focus that is on you as Venom. Now, the combo is really one of the best things that you could be doing, just killing people outright, but you can get a lot of value with this ultimate in other ways. You can get a lot of HP just by hitting tanks, and because you're doing a flat 50% of their base health, you can take a group down to half and then even less very quickly, giving you a ton of heals and allowing you to stall and just brawl out a fight. Can be bad in the face of defensive ults because you would have rather just killed something, but it can be good in like a low resource fight where you just really need a way to burst through this giant health total. Also, with a lot of damage boosts like Mantis damage boost, Luna damage boost, Rocket, now his ultimate damage boost, all of these can allow you to kill through defensive ultimates, and they're gonna vary depending on how much, especially with something like Rocket or Luna. It's gonna be entirely possible to kill through every single defensive ult as long as you time it at the same cadence as you did before. Just a massive amount of raw damage, but you're still gonna wanna use your alternate fire, cellular, corrosion into your ultimate, popping it after 3 seconds to get the most amount of guaranteed burst damage. Now, the new anti adds a lot of variables to this ultimate because I think that it's a lot easier to combo kill characters like Cloak with ways to heal themselves, like with the sphere that just she gets to throw on herself and heal her. And tanks like Groot that don't have protection abilities are gonna be more worthy to ult now because if you have team focus fire, after you do a giant chunk of damage, it's gonna be hard for the enemy to heal him up. It's gonna cost them a lot of resources, so they'll be on the back foot and they probably won't be able to heal him in time before he dies. So there's just more flexible ways you could use this ultimate. And of course, with Rocket's ult buff, I think those two together are just gonna pretty much kill everything as long as you set up the combo right. And even in some cases, you don't even have to combo because of just how much raw damage you're outputting. But I laid down the groundwork for you to understand Venom as a whole, but let's talk about some more advanced tips and tricks with the rank 1 Venom Snakecase, where I sent him some recorded questions that I have about meta, matchups, combos, and special tips and tricks, and here's what he had to say about them. So first, what are the important meta implications / changes that the new ultimate buff on Venom does in this new patch?
The main important change for the new ultimate buff will be the alt combo, in my opinion. So the alt combo will be a lot easier to pull off with the healing reduction. So let's say they have a cloak and she's standing in her bubble. Whenever you combo with your grasp, you cannot consistently kill through that right now. But when the healing reduction hits, you'll be able to kill that through a lot more. And that's for all situations with the alt combo. It'll just be way more consistent to kill people. Then obviously you'll see some Venom ults be used more aggressively. So if you just pop that ultimate on someone who your team can focus, they will probably die if a support ult isn't used. Probably see a lot more Venoms combo with a Rocket, Luna, or Mantis damage boost next season.
Now my second question is, what is the #1 mistake that you see even experienced Venom mains make that you don't, and it allows you to consistently dominate top 500 lobbies?
The biggest playstyle mistake I see Venoms doing is they aren't stalling cart enough and staying in the enemy backline. This is where I shine the most, and in my opinion, it's where a large part of the skill ceiling is for Venom. If you can consistently live in the enemy backline and bait out cooldowns, then leave, all without dying, you are getting a ton of value. Yeah, diving is important, but you always want to be baiting out the enemy cooldowns and keeping track of what they have, so you might be able to get a pick next time you dive.
Now my third question is, what are the matchups that you hate the most? How do you counterplay them, and when do you need to swap? Also, what are the easy matchups that you can abuse over and over again?
So the matchups I hate the most are Human Torch and Jeff. They are the hardest to deal with because they are both unkillable, and in triple support it's hard to get anything done when they have a Jeff. Other honorable mentions are Hulk and Invisible Woman. You just have to play around their cooldowns really carefully. Hulk Bubble will cancel your ult combo, and they can both CC you, which often leads to death. Another scary pick is Black Widow. Her kickstun will kill you whenever you swing out 100% of the time, but people aren't ready for that yet. Black Widow isn't meta, but when she becomes meta, she's gonna be a demon for Venom. I'm calling it now. Apart from that, if they are on triple support, usually you can live in their backline a lot and do a lot of distracting. So I don't mind triple support. Those are the matchups I hate the most. It's usually just those characters. But if they have a lot of characters like Bucky, Wolverine, Invisible Woman, you may want to swap if you're always dying. And just to give a mention to Emma, I do not mind fighting Emmas at all. I actually prefer if they have an Emma over an off tank like Hulk or Thing, because whenever Emma goes into diamond form, you can just simple swing out instantly and she cannot grab you. So that's the mention to Emma that you were probably thinking about right now.
Now my fourth question is, what are the best duos, trios, or synergy that you like to run? And in general, what are you looking for in your teammates' play and pick that can best enable you?
So 99% of the time, I'm solo queuing. The best supports to run with Venom are Mantis and Luna for the damage boost, and maybe Rocket now too. So for DPS, I find Spider-Man is fun to dive with, but I could really make any DPS comp work with Venom. For tanks, I prefer an Emma, Magneto, or Doctor Strange so they can main tank while I'm at the enemy backline.
Now my fifth question is, are there any special map implications for the hero, or are there other advanced tips and techs that people should know about that isn't common knowledge?
The first tech that you should know about is a simple swing dive. Some experienced Venom players still do not have simple swing bound, or they aren't using it enough. It's basically a different ability with a shared cooldown with manual swing. You can use simple swing to avoid Jeff and Doctor Strange ultimates, as well as survive Jeff whenever he spits you off the map. Simple swing is an instant swing to get out of bad situations. Manual swing is when you want precise and high momentum swings. So when you combo the simple swing with the dive, you'll be able to avoid some ultimates and CC abilities. For the next tech, long swing stalling is a silly niche tech that is useful to stall on some maps. It's hard to pull off, but you can make Venom's swing last for 10 to 20 seconds and use it to stall on some points. And then lastly, the most important tech is Venom's alt combo. For the alt combo, you want to practice the timing with the grasp in the practice range. My go-to timing is grasp, one primary, go into the ultimate, and then ult at 25% of the circle. Whether you are damage boosted or not, you'll want to combo your ult with the grasp for maximum damage.
Now for my last question, where can people find you? And is there anything that you're cooking on behind the scenes that can help people even get insanely better at Venom?
People can find me on Twitch just about every single day. Snakecase2 is my Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube handle. And I also have a section in my Discord for Venom Tech if you want to check that out. I appreciate the questions and I hope you have fun learning Venom. He's really fun to play and I'm definitely not biased since I have 600 hours on him.